fantasy football coming back at you here, talking about the 6th round of our average draft position discussions. And this 6th round, I'll tell you what, this is when it really starts to get dirty here, when we're talking maybe you target a couple of these guys, and if they are not there, I feel like you got to take the best quarterback available or best tight end available, because some of these guys you're drafting as starters, and you just can't rely on week in, week out.
Can't get on relying on the majority of these guys going in the 6th round, week in and week out. A lot of these are just like gross dick bums. I mean, some of these guys are past their prime. Some of these guys have never seen a prime. And a couple of these guys might even be dead. I'm not even sure, but let's start with Brandon Marshall here. I know when he moves to a new team, he usually gets sexy deluxe for you. But I just don't know if I can get on relying on a guy like Brandon Marshall week in and week out, and what I do believe is the twilight of his career.
Yeah, I feel like we could be talking a touchdown-dependent Brandon Marshall, who I think he will be very effective. Could be in the 8 to 9 range for touchdowns. But in terms of yards, he has always hit 1,000 yards of every new team. I am going to personally guarantee he does not hit that, and I think he's going to be more about that 700-yard range, which, I mean, isn't bad, but I still feel like he is very, very tough to depend on a weekly basis.
Like we've had in the sleeper picks, I think Sterling Shepard is the second wide receiver to own, especially at the value of Sterling Shepard going in like the 13th round compared to Brandon Marshall going here in the first pick of the 6th. I think that 7th round adjust is just ridiculous. I think I would definitely target Sterling Shepard later. We got Willie Snead, another guy who's like a second fiddle on a pretty pass-heavy offense out there. I just don't know if I can really. I know Willie Snead's going to have his big weeks, and I'd rather have Willie Snead in like a best ball situation, but I just can't get on relying on Willie Snead week in and week out just feels very unsavory to me.
Yeah, like I said, we're drafting this guy. If you're looking at, he's going to be at worst a flex play for you, or from where he's being drafted, and yeah, I mean, I think he's going to have a couple 30-point games this year, but I think he's going to have an awful lot of single-digit games.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about guys like Emmanuel Sanders going full 2 rounds later, and he has gotten 1,000 yards in back-to-back seasons for not the sexy deluxe Peyton Manning Broncos. I know Peyton Manning was there in 2015, but we all know Peyton Manning was not sexy deluxe in 2015. So we're talking about dying Peyton Manning on the way out, and then we're talking about 2 different rookies last season, and he still managed to get over that 1,000-yard marker. So if you're looking to get your wide receiver 3 here, I'd definitely wait a couple rounds and snag up some Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah, Sanders going about late 7th there, so yeah, I mean, why not?
Yeah, wait another round. Not 2 rounds, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Only 1 round later. Not 2 rounds, only 1 round. But still, like I said, wait around. Get up on some Emmanuel Sanders.
All right, a guy who does have some upside, I believe. But it's still, I mean, you're still drafting him as like an RB2. We're talking Bilal Powell. I'd feel a lot better about this if they finally just said he is the guy, because it is finally time for Forte to close the door. But they're talking whispers of Forte being the workhorse here, and I have no idea how that's possible, because Powell has showed some legitimate flashes.
I mean, if they were talking about 50-50 timeshare, that almost put Will Powell's value in the tank. I know I'm kind of a believer in Will Powell. He's not a spring chicken. I mean, he's like that 1997 Buick LeSabre with the low mileage on it that the old ladies just take it to the church and take it to the grocery store. But I mean, I just don't know. I mean, give him the opportunity. I'm a Will Powell believer, but we have to get that opportunity first. And that's more of a wait-and-see pick. But when you're taking guys in the 6th round, you're taking them as every week starters. I just can't really get on that action.
And I think the first guy we're finally on here, we're talking about the 4th pick in the 6th round. We're talking Gillislee. We're talking taking over, more than likely, the LeGarrette Blount role, which saw almost 300 carries, which saw 18 touchdowns. I feel like he's going to be more about that 240 range for carries, but I still feel like he's going to get you, that 10, maybe 12 to 13 range for touchdowns.
Yeah, LeGarrette Blount coming back from the depths of the sea, hadn't had a 1,000-yard season since his rookie season in 2010, and coming back from the depths of the sea, just barely under 4 yards per carry at 3.9. So it's not like he was out there sexy deluxe and he was just kind of grinding, living and dying off the Patriots, making it to the red zone so many times out there to get those 18 touchdowns. And Gillislee's not really a guy that catches the ball either, like Blunt. But if Gillislee can even get close to the amount of touches that LeGarrette Blunt had last season, I mean, Gillislee is going to be out there putting up very high-end RB2 numbers at worst case scenario. If he's getting over 200 touches, I don't see how he's not getting RB2 value.
Small sample size, only just over 100 carries, but Gillislee still averaged 5.7 yards a carry.
5.7 yards a carry.
And a lot of that, too, was goal line work.
9
which
touchdowns.
is crazy to think about. When he's mostly sneaking touchdowns from McCoy last year and still getting 5.7 yards a carry is impressive.
110 touches, like 570 yards out there for you. Got those 9 touchdowns. And I mean, 9 touchdowns for the playing second fiddle for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, we got to be talking about this guy can easily get up into that 12-13 range playing for the New England Patriots if we are talking about he is getting the first and second down work. I mean, if we go into the preseason and he's getting that starter treatment like he's coming out when Tom Brady and those guys are coming out, then I mean, I am all in.
We could be talking about
Gillislee.
We could be talking about this guy maybe a 4th round pick, at worst a 5th round pick, if they hand this guy over the true reins to this offense in terms of first down, second round, goal line work.
Oh, for sure. Another guy I'm kind of on in PPR leagues. If you kind of been in those no running back leagues and you're looking to get up on your like RB2 right now, you get up on some Tevin Coleman. I mean, this guy turned like 140 touches last year into almost 200 PPR fantasy points, and that's pretty solid production if he can get those touches up a little tick, and if he can somehow get to 200 touches. I know we missed like 3 games last year, so if he would have been able to scratch and claw his way to that 200 touches, I mean, I think another guy we are looking at easy RB2 production out of the mid-6.
Yeah, I feel like this guy, he was flirting with RB1 to start the year. If he plays, I truly believe that he is going to be flirting with that back-end RB1 to maybe very, very top-end RB2. And for some reason, Freeman's banged up or anything like that, I feel like you plug him in and he is instant high-end RB1.
Sexy deluxe, instant sexy deluxe, talking top 5. If we're talking Devontae Freeman isn't on the football field and this guy is all alone for the sexy power offense of the Atlanta Falcons, I mean, my goodness, people, that could win you leagues. If Devontae Freeman goes down and you draft Tevin Coleman and you're not the Devontae Freeman owner, because there's no way you can handcuff a guy in the 6th round. You can't draft 2 running backs from the same team in the top 6 rounds. I mean, I guess that is a strategy, but that's insanity.
All right, so there's obviously been a couple dicey picks here. So if you're saying maybe I get my tight end here, the next pick going right now, we're talking Jimmy Graham, who a very nice season last year, building some chemistry finally with Russell Wilson, and I feel like he's going to put up a very, very good season again.
Oh, yeah, I think we could be seeing easy top 5 tight end Jimmy Graham. So, I mean, like I said, like over half of these picks we're talking about in this 6th round are unsavory. So if you're going to start looking at your tight ends or your quarterbacks, feel free. And especially if you're a guy like me who waits on tight end and quarterback. This is the 6th round, so we've waited a little while. We can go ahead and pay up for one of them.
All right, and a guy we really, really are feeling this year, we're talking about the rookie Dalvin Cook. It would not shock me one bit. At the end of the season, we're talking Dalvin Cook is the #1 rookie running back over Fournette, over Mixon, over McCaffrey, Perrine, whoever you want to name there. I mean, this guy has the potential to be an every down back. And I think his rookie season, I know they still have Latavius Murray, so he might sneak some goal line work and maybe some short yardage. But Cook is going to get every single catch out of this backfield.
I know Fournette is just that monster monster, sexy deluxe 30-year-old man looking out there. But he is playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So if for some reason that does hamper him like it likes to do to a lot of talented players, Dalvin Cook could easily steal the show and be the number one PPR rookie running back.
And a guy that we're kind of talking about with Gillislee, talking LeGarrette Blount, new home in Philadelphia. There are whispers of maybe only 170 carries, something like that.
Yeah,
but I
that
feel
happens. His value is in the dumpster.
But I feel like there's no way. I feel like he has to get 200 carries. But even with that said,
football games for that to happen. LeGarrette Blount ate and lived off the Patriots holding these 2-3 possession leads in the second half, and the Eagles are not going to be doing those things.
But I mean, he is not catching balls whatsoever. So he's going to be living and dying by the end zone. Very touchdown dependent. I feel like his ceiling in the 6th round, we're talking back end RB2.
I think absolutely his ceiling is back end RB2 right now. I mean, I know even if he gets 250 carries, like we said, he only had that 3.9, so that puts him at like right at that 1,000 yards. And if we're talking about 1,000 yards, talking about splitting his touchdowns from the 18, we're talking about 9 touchdowns. We're talking about only 154 fantasy points.
He's not getting any catches.
No, he might get 3 or 4, maybe push him up to 160, 165 fantasy points, but that is not something you are looking to rely on, averaging like 10.5 fantasy points a week as your RB2. That is not something that is going to win you leagues. All right, Stephon Diggs, another guy that we're not really high on.
Nah, I feel like Adam Thielen, I feel like down the stretch proved that he's the guy that Bradford falls in love with, along with Rudolph.
Getting drafted 4 rounds later, I think if you are, for some reason, desiring a Minnesota Viking wide receiver, I think you should wait the full 4 rounds and get yourself some Adam Thielen. Andrew Luck, another thing, like we said, a lot of these guys run savory, so if you're about looking at the quarterback, a guy like Andrew Luck, if anybody is going to probably sneak up into that top 4 elite category and steal it from like a guy like Matt Ryan, I think Andrew Luck is the one to do it.
It still is a scary pick, though. I mean, off-season surgeries, not throwing a ball in 5 months or so.
Well, like I said, a lot of these.
But every single 6th-round pick here, I feel like, is dicey. I mean,
my goodness, you talking about Garrett Blount or Andrew Luck?
We might be talking
Philadelphia Eagle with Garrett Blount or Andrew Luck. I mean, if they're talking with Garrett Blount, if they're talking Andrew Luck as all systems go week 1, by the time your draft happens, there's no way you take like Garrett Blount.
And they're not going to be running Frank Gore anymore, so it's going to be very pass heavy. And really, if it's week 13 and your playoff stretch is coming down, and we're saying, who do I want more in my lineup, Andrew Luck or Bilal Powell, who are going about the same place, I feel like people are going to say, give me that Andrew Luck.
I mean, my goodness, we're talking Rand Marshall, we're talking Willie Snead, we're talking Bilal Powell, we're talking Garrett Blount, Stephon Diggs. I mean, my goodness, you got to give me, if Andrew Luck is playing football, you got to give me Andrew Luck over those guys every single week.
All right, we're talking Paul Perkins here, the 11th pick of the 6th round. I don't know. I feel like his ceiling is severely capped here.
He was getting drafted in the 9th round about a month ago, and I liked you a lot more. I liked you a lot more in that 9th round, Paul Perkins.
I train is rolling. Not sure why. I felt like
I liked you a lot more.
I mean, the weapons are still all there that we're talking about when we're talking Odell, when we're talking Marshall, we're talking Shepard, we're talking Ingram. I just feel like I don't know. I mean, he had 0 touchdowns as a rookie. I don't know how much excited you can get about a Giants back.
Running back just haven't been anything really since Tiki Barber? I mean, I know Brandon Jacobs had his Dreamweaver moment when people were like, oh, he's trucking people out there. Well, that never really necessarily turned into fantasy value. And I don't know. I just can't really see myself going into the season as Paul Perkins in my starting lineup week in and week out. That is absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, in the 9th round, at least that was like my first or second bench player, and I'd feel a little bit better about it. But this RB2 Paul Perkins start of the season, get out of my fucking face. That's fucked. All right, Kelvin Benjamin, who actually went out there, looked sexy deluxe for you week 1 and week 2 last year, and then just straight up shit himself. He shit himself.
We'll see, though. I mean, obviously there's been weight problems, they're saying in camp. But I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of weapons that they did bring in the draft, and maybe they're kind of sick of Benjamin. They bring in the McCaffrey. They bring in Curtis Samuel.
He's a kind of a wait-and-see kind of guy, you know? I mean, if he goes out there in training camp and preseason and looks more to form, I mean, this late 6th-round pick is looking a little bit more desirable. But if he doesn't go out, and, I mean, if I don't see anything out of him in, like, the 2 to 3 preseason I get to see.
Absolutely was flat-out bad.
Yeah,
down the stretch. I mean, it was terrible. It was just bad.
Dog shit terrible. He wasn't even startable. He was like a wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5. He was dog shit terrible down the stretch. And I mean, if we're looking, I mean, if he doesn't show me anything, and I mean, you got to show me something in these 2 to 3 preseason games I'm going to be watching before my fantasy draft this year. And if he can't do that, I just can't strap my wagon to him out there. I just can't get on it.
I mean, there's obviously a lot of very, very, very dicey guys here. Maybe some guys that sneak up if, say, like a Woodhead doesn't fall to you or Matt Ryan doesn't fall to you in this round. If you don't target the Gillislee, the Coleman, the Cook, I feel like some guys that you maybe need to think about drafting over some of these guys. I mean, Dante Moncrief is not a bad play. I know he's going the 7th round, but Moncrief, if he's on the field, he is almost a guaranteed touchdown out there if I've ever seen it from a wide receiver. I mean, he gets about...
Very red zone, very highly targeted in the red zone for the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, T.Y. Hilton is not that touchdown guy.
No.
Dwayne Allen has left town, and Dwayne Allen kind of was a touchdown guy too, so that might leave more options for Moncrief. And like I said earlier, Emmanuel Sanders going in that early 7th is a guy I would take over a lot of these guys that we mentioned here.
Yeah, I mean, Sanders does have an extremely nice floor, extremely mediocre quarterback play last 2 years.
I mean, say chalk
got
it
you
up
70 catches,
80 catches and 1,000
got you the
yards.
1,000 yards. He's gonna get 7 touchdowns. And if you're looking at that for fantasy points, I mean, you can't tell me that Diggs is guaranteed to top that.
No,
you can't, I mean,
absolutely not.
Even Brandon Marshall, you can't guarantee that.
Emmanuel Sanders' floor is so much better than Willie Snead or Stephon Diggs or Calvin Benjamin. It's not even close. It's ridiculous.
And even with that said, I feel like there is
he stays healthy and he scores fantasy points. I mean, what the hell more?
I feel like he does have a decent ceiling on him too. I mean, like we said, those are his numbers with bad quarterback play. I mean,
one foot in the grave, Peyton Manning, and 2 rookies.
I mean, yeah, Trevor Siemian, I mean, it was basically his rookie year. It was his 2nd year, but it didn't even take a snap.
Oh, don't forget about Brock Osweiler. We all know who fucking terrible he is.
Oh, yeah, he did get some play in there. So
1 foot in the grave, Manning, Brock Osweiler, 2 rookies. I know he's still working with those 2 rookies. Those 2 rookies can only get better. And, I mean, he had that 76 receptions for over 1,000 yards and those 5 touchdowns last year. And if he can just build on that a little, get up and tick to the 80 to 85 range and get that 11 to 1,200 with those 7 touchdowns, I mean, we could be talking about high-end wide receiver to Emmanuel Sanders.
I mean, I think 7th round Emmanuel Sanders as a
great value
as your 3rd wide receiver.
Incredible.
You can't go wrong with that. You can't do it.
Oh, that's good.
All right, that is round 6, people.
All right, people, we will be back. We will grind it out for you. We will keep grinding. We are going to go through 10 rounds in the ADP. We're going to hit you with some more mock drafts. We're going to do a dynasty startup mock draft this
We're going to do mocks
week.
till you're sick of it.
Oh, more mock drafts. Once August starts, we're going to start hitting the mocks hot and heavy out there, baby.
Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe below. If you enjoyed the video, please give us a thumbs up. We would greatly appreciate it. Leave a comment. Love to get back to you. We love hearing to talk to all you beautiful people out there. We will see you next time.
See you next time.